my name is Spencer Dubois, and welcome to my presentation. Today, we'll be talking about a widely debated topic, digitalization, and more specifically, digitalization in the human resources function. Today, we'll be discussing how managers can better adapt their roles to be prepared for Industry 4.0. As you can see by the current figure, the number of articles published on HRM and Industry 4.0 have gone up dramatically, especially up until 2020, when it really took its form. According to a survey in 2020, 84% of respondents said that they plan to increase digitalization in their workplace. 50% of respondents also said that they plan to increase automation of jobs, but only 33% said that they actually have adequate understanding of the concept to implement the changes now. This just goes to show that everybody understands the potential of digitalization, but nobody understands it well enough to implement it. This PowerPoint aims to provide the information needed to successfully implement a digital transformation. It was a few months ago when my interest in digitalization really took off. I was at a logistics convention in Munich, Germany, and I was able to talk to many different business owners about how they're implementing AI tools to analyze big data and automate business processes in the supply chain industry. Ever since then, I've been constantly reading about all the implications of the topic, and I was really wondering, specific to the HR function, how things could be improved in that realm. The biggest thing about digitalization is that it's inevitable. It's here, it's coming, it's the future. Managers need to understand this and embrace digitalization rather than resisting it. They need to understand that a lot of the traditional HR and management techniques are now redundant and less effective. As such, they need to adapt their personality and leadership roles to fit Industry 4.0. Additionally, there are all kinds of moving parts involved in navigating a digital world, and managers need to educate themselves sufficiently in order to successfully do so. And finally, leveraging innovative technology is crucial. Everybody's going to be doing it in Industry 4.0. That means that you need to have the greatest competencies and the greatest understanding of the concepts in order to have a competitive edge. In order to have a successful digital transformation, managers need to sufficiently understand the actual concept of the Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0 is seeing many big changes in the way that we do business, which is mostly influenced by AI, automation, Internet of Things, and networking. All of this new technology is meaning new possibilities, and everybody's implementing it into their workplace. Digitization is an important definition to understand as a manager. Digitization is switching tools from analog format to digital format. Once this is completed, you can move on to digitalization, which is switching processes from a traditional form to a digital form. That is where the majority of this presentation is focused on. Once this is done successfully, we will have a digital transformation. Much like any other business venture, managers need to sufficiently understand both the opportunities and challenges that come along with the new venture. Some of the opportunities include forecasting technology. This involves using AI to analyze big data and forecast potential layoffs, potential turnover, and optimize the human efficiency in the company. In addition, employee development, training, and retention programs can be developed by AI. This involves maybe highlighting weaknesses of an employee, and then a personalized process can be created by AI to turn this weakness into a strength. And finally, for opportunities, improved workplace safety is something that is a major benefit of digitalization. AI can be used to identify potential hazards and notify supervisors about them. As for the challenges, the big concern, and probably one you've heard a lot about, is job losses. There are many jobs that are at high risk of being replaced by automation. However, there are going to be even more competency requirements and more jobs being created as a result from digitalization. And finally, increased industry competition will be a major challenge. Everybody will have access to these high technology tools. That means that everybody needs to harness them to their full capability in order to actually gain an advantage from them. Now, I know this sounds like a lot of information to take in, and it is. But, just like any other strategic implementation, with sufficient planning, it can all be streamlined and simplified. This can be aided by the three pillars of digitalization. This starts with phase one, strategic analysis. This involves looking at yourself, looking at the company, and seeing what the level of digital maturity is. This can go anywhere from non-digital to digital leader. This refers to the amount of competency you have in digital formatting. Once you realize what level you have, you can move on to phase two, which is operationalizing the strategy. This involves gathering all the competency requirements that you have. This consists of mostly IT specialists. Phase 3 is putting the strategy into action. As I previously stated, the expected competencies for the future of Industry 4.0 are going to change dramatically. As you can see by this image provided by the World Economic Forum, the top 10 skills of 2025, traditional desired competencies such as human interaction skills are going to be less required, and the focus will be more on analytical thinking, critical problem solving, and technical abilities. This means that the people that HR professionals are actually going to be looking to hire are going to be different. That means that they need to understand the competency requirements and that they need to realize that IT specialists and software engineers are the future of Industry 4.0. As such, there is a major difference between the supply and demand of these core competencies, and HR professionals need to adjust accordingly. One of the most interesting things about Industry 4.0 is the way digital tools can be used to innovate processes such as training and development. New technologies such as virtual reality and augmented reality can be used to imitate workplace scenarios. This can be used to completely get rid of expenses for training, put you in a real life situation without you actually having to be there. This new innovative method will drastically increase productivity, which is ultimately the goal of human resources, really. If you look here at the socio-technical system, human-machine interface challenges can be used to help create learning environments and new competencies. These competencies are key for Industry 4.0, and they are going to need to be fine-tuned constantly in order to have success. This will all lead, ideally, to high performance and productivity. One of the most interesting things about these new processes is that they can all be AI generated and individually tailored to fit the needs of an individual employee. This means fine-tuning weaknesses and turning them into strengths even. Many management styles that were previously effective won't continue to work in HRM 4.0. That's because they rely on traditional methods that don't involve any analog tools, and innovative means are needed to be relied on in order to find success. Luckily, there's an HRM 4.0 leadership matrix that will help come up with a new way of leading employees. The 4.0 leadership matrix is interesting because it can be individual and designed for a particular person. A manager needs to decide if a concern for people, a concern for innovation and technology, or a combination of the two are the ideal outcome. Once that is determined, a management style can be chosen, and it needs to particularly fit the organization and its characteristics and digital maturity. I know some of these concepts may seem intimidating. HRM 4.0 is an intimidating topic, but it is one that needs to be addressed. As I previously stated, it cannot be avoided. Those who choose to avoid it choose to fall behind the competition. Managers need to ensure the best results by just embracing digitalization. By learning about the functioning parts of digitalization, strategizing, acquiring, developing necessary skills, and adjusting leadership styles, HR managers will be able to use these complicated concepts to their advantage. I'd like to thank you for your time today. But before we finish, I'd like to ask one last question for HR managers or aspiring HR managers. The future is now. Would you like to adapt or fall behind?